Hello and welcome to Andy's Cornish Creations. In this video I'm going to be making a Seamripper from Procraft over here in UK. I've got a blank of wood. It's a pen blank, and I'm just using a centre finder to locate the centre of the end of the piece. I prefer this than going straight in with the drill, because I get less wobble on the drill when I insert the drill. And this requires an 8mm drill bit, and I'll be drilling it all the way through. I think it's a piece of king wood or something like that. I'm not sure, it didn't say on it, and I've had it for a while. But it's quite a nice hard wood, and it's got a lovely grain to it. I've got the lathe on about 450 RPM, and the piece of wood's inserted into the pen jaws, which are really good for holding these pieces. I withdraw the drill bit about every half inch or so, and just get rid of the wood from the thread there, and otherwise it builds up and starts to heat up, and it can possibly jam in there, and you'll certainly not get a nice clean hole through. So just keep withdrawing it. I keep my hand on the chuck at all times, because when you withdraw the drill, there is the chance that it can just because it's only the Morse taper in the tailstock that's holding it in place, and there's no actual physical thing holding it there other than it just jamming in. So you do have to be a bit careful there, because if it pops out of the tailstock, it's a flying round piece of metal, and it can be dangerous. Here I've got the brass tube, and I'm just roughening it up with a bit of sandpaper, ready to glue in, just to give it a bit of a key for the glue to adhere to. Right, I've got some medium CA glue. You can use epoxy for this, which a lot of people do prefer, but I've never had any problem with a tube coming out. And as I'm inserting it, I'm just giving it a little twist, and do it quite quickly, otherwise you finish for half in and it'll be set. And just make sure that it's in it and not sticking out at either end. Right, I've got the bushings. Specifically for this kit from Procraft, and I'm going to turn this between centres. These aren't actually between centre bushings, because they have a sort of an inverted cone on them. But I've never had any problems just putting these between centres and turning them. It certainly saves mounting it on a pen mandrel. So because it's a narrow piece, the speed needs to be quite high, so it'll be around about 1800, 2000 revs. and I'm using my 3/8 spindle gouge to turn it down to round. I'm keeping this in real time, not speeding it up, because I don't very often get the opportunity to film it in real time, because the projects are a bit lengthy. This one's a nice, simple, quick project, so I'll leave the whole process in, and it gives you a better idea of just how long something like this will take, which is not very long. So at each end I'm turning the wood down flush with the bushing, and that'll give me a nice fit when I insert the brass kit parts at the ends. And I'm just going to put a very simple shape on this one. It's just slightly wider in the centre and then tapering off to each end, and that should provide a nice feel when you're holding it. Here I'm using a 1-inch scraper, negative rate scraper, that I've just made out of an old chisel, and I just use it just to finalise that last little bit. You can leave some sort of hollows and peaks with the spindle gouge, but and the scraper's just there to even it out a bit, and just to take it right down to that bushing. Now remove the tool rest out of the way for safety, and I'll start with a 120 grit, and just make sure it's nice and smooth, and no high or low points. And at the end of each grade of grit, I do like to run the sandpaper along the grain, so that you haven't got any scratches going around the piece. Now I'm through to I've done a 320 grit, and now this is a bit of wet and dry. I think it's about 600 grit, just to give it a nice smooth finish. And you can see already there's a bit of a shine on there, because it's a nice hard piece of wood, and it'll take a bit of a shine just from the sandpaper. Now I've got my abrasive paste. I run it along the grain a bit there, and I'll turn the speed up to about 2000 to speed up the process and get a bit of heat on there. And you can see already from the reflective light that it's getting a nice shine already. And finished off, I'm using some of my wood wax. Both these homemade products, and I've done a video in the past, so if you want to check out how to make those, just have a look on my YouTube channel list, and you'll find them there. Nice simple finish this, and and it leaves the wood looking very natural, rather than a sort of a CA finish. You get a really high shine, but it does feel a bit like a piece of plastic. Whereas this, it really does feel like a piece of natural wood, which is the kind of finish that I like. There, I'm just using a cloth just to buff it up. If you are using cloth, be careful. Use a small piece and just hold it very lightly, so that if it does get wrapped round the piece, you can let go of it very quickly. And there, it's a really nice finish. I've got my kit parts down there. And this is the insert that the Seamripper cutting part will screw into, and that's got to be inserted into the end, flush with the end, so it goes all the way in. I'm using a couple of homemade parts to press the pieces together. One's I forget what they call it, the plastic nylon stuff. Set onto a Morse 2 taper, and the other end's a piece of leather stuck to a Morse 2 taper. So I press that in, flush, and now I'm getting the pocket clip, and just try and, if you can, just pop it in the end slightly, and then try and make sure it's lined up, because you don't want it going in twisted, because you could damage the tube and even the wood as well. And at this stage, you don't want to do that. So that's pressed nicely together, and that's it really. And this the ripper part of the kit screws into the end, and that's for when you're using it. And then when we want to put it away, just turn it round, put the pointy bit into the body, and screw it up, and you're left with a nice brass end to it. A really nice kit, very simple to make, probably simpler than a pen, but yeah, nice to do, and very handy apparently. Okay, so there we have it. Seamripper. For anybody that's not in the know, it's for when you're doing some sewing. I'm guessing here actually, but and you want to pick the seams out, so you can poke that into the stitches and cut the stitches and pull the seam apart. Yeah, an essential bit of kit, I'm led to believe. Yeah, it's this is a Procraft kit here in the UK, but they do ship overseas. Nice little kit. So you've got the ripper at that end, and then you keep the stabby bit, all the technical terms coming out here, can go inside when it's not in use, and you've got that nice brass end there. You've got a pocket clip, and the end does undo, it loosens on this, so if you've positioned your pocket clip in the wrong place, you can spin it round and tighten it up again, and you're good to go. Very simple kit, one tube, quite a long tube, so there's a decent bit of turning. You could do any sort of shape. Personally, I think the simpler the best. When you're handling something like this, you don't want bobbly bits all over the place when you've got it between your fingers. And yeah, I think simple's best. And also it shows the wood off. This is a nice piece of wood. I've no idea what it is, but it's pretty. It looks like something like king wood or something like that. but it's got a lovely grain in it. You probably don't pick it up on there. I'll try and take some pictures at the end, see if I can pick out the grain a bit better. But yeah, nice little beginner kit really, because it's only got one tube, so it's easy to do, providing you've got a little bit of gear to do it, and the bushings we can get from Procraft as well, and you're away really. Yeah, I turn this between centres, so you don't need a pen mandrel for it. It hadn't actually got between centre bushings, but I just use the ordinary bushings and just put it between a drive centre and a live centre, and it works perfectly well. It seems to anyway. Good enough for me. Yeah, there you go. Nice simple project. If you like it, please give it the thumbs up and share. If you've subscribed already, then thanks for sticking with me. If you haven't yet subscribed, then please do so. That would be fantastic. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to ring the little bell, or click on the bell, should I say, and it will let you know when when I post a new video. So that's handy, so you can keep up with all the good stuff. Well, you can probably hear there's no rain on the roof today, which is about the first day since the Christmas holidays started. It's been blowing a holy and raining really heavy. We've got sort of flood alerts and things around, but nothing around here. We're on a hill, so we're okay. But yeah, it's been a bit grim, but we're promised a couple of dry days, I think. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, if you'd like to leave a comment, please do so. I certainly read them all, and I'm working my way through them, replying. So I'll get there eventually. And yeah, so my name's Andy Paramore. This is Andy's Cornish Creations, and hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.